This chapter directly continues from the previous chapter. Please ensure you follow the web series chronologically. All the links will be provided in the description below. Thank you. The House of Kuru, Part 1, Chapter 10, War with Bhargava Rama. Amba left the palace of Hastinapura and began wandering. In her wandering, she spent a lot of time reflecting on who to blame for her condition, and after a long while of reflecting, she finally concluded that Bhishma was the sole reason for her misery. She began requesting kings, mercenaries, and warriors to kill Bhishma in order for her to seek her revenge. No man dared risk getting on Bhishma's wrong side. Everyone was well aware of Bhishma's wrath. She wandered and wandered, looking for a champion to best Bhishma, but to no avail. Days turned to weeks, weeks turned to months, and there was no champion who dared to fight the mighty son of Ganga, especially since he wreaked havoc, slaughtering and maiming princes in the Kashi Swayamvara. Amba finally wandered into a forest with a large band of sages. She spoke to each of these sages, and, though many understood and were even sympathetic to her plight, none could offer any solution, until she met a seer called Shaikavatya. Shaikavatya took pity on Amba and instructed her to do austerities to invoke the demigod-like warrior sage, who has a known vengeance against the warrior class. The very next day, a sage named Hotravahana, Amba's own maternal grandfather, arrived at the hermitage of sages. Amba recounted her plight to Hotravahana, and he agreed with the sage Shaikavatya. Do tapas and austerities through repetitive meditation and invoke the warrior sage Parashurama, instructed her grandfather. Parashurama was indeed the teacher to Bhishma, and he will put that insolent lad in place, said the old sage. And Shaikyavatya agreed. Parashurama was a mighty warrior sage who was a part of Mahavishnu himself. He was an axe-wielding warrior who had single-handedly committed genocide of an entire race of warriors who swerved from the path of virtue. He spared no one and created a lake of blood with their corpses. To the warrior clans, the mere uttering of Parashurama made them shudder and tremble with fear. Parashurama was also known as Bhargava Rama. This was because he descended from the great Rishi Bhrigu. So, the name Parashurama or Bhargava Rama was enough to send any warrior in a shudder of fear. This was all that Amba needed. She needed to perform penance on the name of the great sage called Parashurama, and that she did. She sat with an unwavering mind. She performed severe austerities to invoke the warrior sage Parashurama. Days, weeks, and months passed. She was engrossed in severe austerities to please the semi-incarnation of Mahavishnu called Parashurama. After what felt like an eternity to her, a thick cloud of smoke appeared, and she woke from her trance of penance. She saw a terrifying figure standing in front of her, half monk, half hitman, who was wielding a large axe. "Speak! Why have you invoked me? Speak now!" thundered the sage. Tears, emotions, and anger flowed from Amba. She recounted all her tragedies, and the sage Parashurama listened patiently. Finally, after explaining her plight, she spoke. "Having heard my situation, O mighty sage, please tell me who is at fault. Who is to be blamed for my plight? Is it Salva, the prince of Saubala? Am I to be blamed for not leaving my captor's chariot soon enough? Bhishma, my captor? My father for not declaring war on Bhishma's kingdom? Please, tell me, O mighty warrior, you are endowed with the intellect of a sage and the prowess of a warrior. Tell me, who is at fault for my calamity? Shrieked the princess of Kashi. Your series of misfortune, princess, was instigated by one person. Had that individual not abducted you, you would have been happily married to the Prince of Salva. Therefore, I believe Bhishma is the single cause for all your calamities, explained the sage. Then bring me justice, O mighty sage. I demand you subjugate Bhishma and force him to marry me, screamed the princess of Kashi. I give you my word, princess. I will wage war on Bhishma and subjugate him to wed you, said the warrior sage, much to the joy and excitement of Amba, and left for the land for Hastinapura. After a few days of riding, the warrior sage arrived in the land of Hastinapura. Bhishma heard he was arriving hours before he came from his retinue of informers. He made arrangements for a warm welcome. After all, at the behest of his mother, the goddess Ganga, the greatest warrior known to man, became his teacher, his guru. As soon as Parashurama arrived, Bhishma leapt from his throne and offered it to him. Parashurama refused it. He approached Bhishma. Bhishma, what is this I hear that you abducted a woman and now are not willing to marry her? This amounts to dishonoring a woman. This is not the way my student behaves. It does not bode well for a warrior to behave in this manner. Marry her at once, instructed the axe-wielding sage. Dearest Guru, foremost of teachers, wisest of warriors, please hear my plight. I have taken an oath of celibacy, an undying oath to maintain a state of absolute abandonment of any filial affection. This oath is on my own father. I will be known all over the land as the oath breaker. No, please, I cannot do this, said the trembling Bhishma. The words enraged the warrior sage Parashurama. How dare you abduct a woman and abandon her? This is exactly how the warrior class behave. There is no honor among them. I will send you to Yama's abode, thundered the axe-wielding sage. Yama was the god of the underworld. He looked like a maniac when enraged, and fear began to settle on the mighty Bhishma. Bhishma, the mighty soldier, the ruthless warrior, the invincible hero who knew no fear until this moment. He was facing an apocalyptic decision. If he yields, he will be known as an oath breaker for life. The world will mock him. His father would be dishonored. He would need to flee the kingdom, for he would not be able to bear the shame. With him leaving the kingdom, the enemies of Hastinapura will attack and lay waste to the land, dishonor the woman, and steal the kine and cattle of the land. Then his mind was made up. He would rather face death over dishonor. Master, I am thy pupil, thy disciple, implored Bhishma. Enough! Prepare for death, roared the axe-wielding sage. There was just no convincing him. Bhishma had no choice. Once Parashurama had decided on something, not even the gods could change his mind. The two met in a land called Kurukshetra. It was far away from civilian life to ensure that no one would be hurt in the ensuing battle. However, numerous spectators, curious and eager to see the battle, also accompanied the two titans. Before the battle began, Bhishma approached the son of Jamadagni and prostrated before him. Forgive me for battling with you, my preceptor. I fight for the sake of my honor, said the son of Ganga. Parashurama was pleased. Had you not prostrated, Bhishma, I would have cursed you with the powers of my austerities. Now I will fight you to the best of my ability. Bhishma humbly moved back to his chariot and blew his conch, declaring a war. As soon as he had declared it, the goddess Ganga appeared in full form. What are you doing, son? Do you not know who this being is? He is equal to Rudra, the god of war himself in prowess. He wiped out an entire race of warriors with effortless ease. Fall at his feet and beg for forgiveness, beseeched the goddess. Bhishma folded his palms, bowed low, and said, Mother, your very presence fills me with strength. But alas, I cannot do what you request. The son of Jamadagni has left me no choice. I either die in battle or die of shame, said the tearful Bhishma. He then recounted all that happened since the abduction of Amba. The goddess made her plight to Parashurama instead. He's a little boy. You remember when he dropped the bow and you held it for him. Spare his life, Bhargavarama. Please, I implore thee, begged the goddess of the Ganges. Your stubborn son has insulted a woman by carrying her in a crowd of men. This is wrong, and I am the champion of this woman. Insist your son to marry the woman, and I shall not lay a finger on him, reproached the saint. Seeing this would not lead to any chance of the battle being stopped, the goddess rose to the heights of the sky to root for her son. The two titans clashed with the legendary celestial weapons. A spectacular battle arose, and Bhishma launched weapon after weapon, and Parashurama nullified them with expert ease. The master of warfare, the son of Jamadagni, Parashurama, fought with nothing held back, but Bhishma, afraid of hurting both his preceptor and a Brahmana, a member of the priestly class, fought half-heartedly. The sage wreaked havoc on Bhishma's chariot. That the charioteer had to insult Bhishma a number of times. Despite this, Bhishma merely defended all of the warrior sage's attacks, until finally a thought hit him. It was beyond doubt that Bhargavarama was attacking to kill. What if he does? What will happen to Hastinapura? Vichitravirya is still not experienced enough to drive away its enemies. The kingdom of Panchala was eyeing Hastinapura greedily. All it needed was a push. No, he thought to himself, he must fight, not as a student, but as a warrior protecting his kingdom. This was his duty as a Kshatriya, a member of the warrior class. Then Bhishma began giving it his all. Arrows filled the sky, and Parashurama, using his knowledge of the bow, nullified all of the arrows. The sight was truly spectacular. Even the celestial beings in heaven could not resist and arrived to observe the battle between the two titans. Bhishma launched more and more weapons, and Bhargavarama nullified them effortlessly. Bhishma decided if he were to die, he would die with a blast, and the two fought like lions. Hours passed to days, and days to weeks. Parashurama launched arrows with poisoned tips, arrows which burned, arrows which invoked snakes, arrows which caught fire in the middle of the air, all of which Bhishma negated with tremendous effort. Finally, Rama, that is Parashurama, began injuring Bhishma. The arrows of fire eventually started piercing his armor, and his shoulders, knee, triceps all had blood oozing out of them. This angered Bhishma. Despite all his efforts, he could not even scratch the wondrous Parashurama. His eyes filled with rage, and he began launching weapons that could do catastrophic damage. He launched the Vayavastra, a deadly tornado-like missile which Rama neutralized with the Guhyaka Astra, which hurled tons of sand and mud into the tornado. Finally, one of the arrows launched by Bhargavarama pierced Bhishma's armor and stabbed him right in the chest. Bhishma swooned and fell just when his charioteer swerved the chariot from the battlefield and out of sight. Shaikyavatya, Hotravana, and Amba hollered with joy, praising the warrior sage and singing hymns of admiration. The day came to an end, and the code among warriors is that no one is to engage in battle during the night. So far, 20 days passed, and Bhishma was unable to even lay a scratch on the mighty son of Jamadagni. He woke from his swoon, and the charioteer told him his armor was pierced. Bhishma cursed himself for allowing the arrow to navigate itself to his armor. He invoked his mother. She appeared in a moment's time. Mother, it looks like I will soon be facing Yama, the god of death. Today's battle was particularly brutal, told the son of Ganga. You are the son of Ganga and Shantanu. It does not bode well for you to delve into this negativity, son, scolded the goddess. "You have entered battle. Now is not the time to think about meeting Yama. Once you decide on meeting Yama, you will enter his palace. You have been awarded this boon by your father. You are invincible." Her words filled Bhishma with pride and courage. "Despite this," she continued, "let me tell you a secret. With this secret, you will gain the upper hand in tomorrow's battle, son," said the goddess. Bhishma listened pertinently. "Tell me, mother. I shall do as you say," said the dutiful Bhishma. "Bhargava Rama has invoked the wrath of Surya, the sun god, when he laid to waste a race of warriors who descended from the lineage of the sun god himself. Listen to me, my child. Worship the sun god at dawn, uttering the very same set of mantras the seventh incarnation of Vishnu, the king of Ayodhya, Lord Rama, chanted before his battle with Lord Ravana, and you will be successful," said the mother of Bhishma. Bhishma folded his palms once again and thanked his mother. The next day, Bhishma did as he was told. He invoked Surya, the sun god, and worshipped him for his blessings. As he completed the worship, he felt stronger and more vigorous to do battle. He faced Bhargava Rama in the battle. "Ready to swoon again?" sneered the axe-wielding sage. "Truly, I am blessed to face such a worthy opponent, O preceptor," said the wise Bhishma, and the battle started once more. This time, Bhishma launched volley after volley of arrows, and Bhargava Rama expertly nullified each and every arrow. Bhishma took the legendary Nagastra. This was an arrow which causes a large poisonous serpent to form upon impact, but Bhargava Rama negated that too with ease. Bhishma resorted to Indrastra and Suryastra at the same time. Though Bhargava Rama knew how to nullify the Indrastra, the weapon of Indra which fills the sky with arrows, he didn't see the Suryastra coming, which blinded him for a few moments. Being caught off guard, he missed a few of the arrows, and some of these arrows finally pierced the armor of Parashurama. He fell in swoon, and his charioteer had to flee from the battleground, while the goddess Ganga, along with the celestial Vasus, the brothers of Parashurama, who were in heaven, cheered in delight from heaven. But the sight of his teacher falling in swoon disgusted Bhishma. The day came to an end, and both parties left the battlefield to nurse their wounds and recover. The sun rose the next day, and both Bhargava Rama and Bhishma completed their morning rituals and rites before facing each other on the battlefield. Bhargava Rama was furious. It was as though he was only fighting with half his capacity till the 22nd day on the battlefield. Bhargava Rama launched a missile the size of a meteor, and Bhishma had to work twice as hard than he had to the previous days. Bhargava Rama was full of uncontrollable wrath. He verily looked like Rudra at the time of the Armageddon, slaughtering all creatures. Bhargava Rama launched arrows after arrows, and Bhishma had, with tremendous effort, nullified them all. Parashurama then began with celestial weapons. One after the other, he hurled them at the son of Ganga. Bhishma was bleeding from all parts of his body, covered in blood, drenched in pain. Bhishma shone like the red sky just before dusk. With enormous effort, he held Bhargava Rama from slaughtering him. And finally, the 22nd day came to an end. Both Bhishma and his charioteer were drenched in blood. Bhishma dragged himself out of the battle-worn chariot and fell to the ground with a large thud. That is when a few Brahmanas uttered spells and incantations on the son of Ganga, and his body began to heal. The Brahmanas administered healing spells on both the charioteer and the guardian of Hastinapura. They told him, "Fight this Bhargava Rama with all your might, Bhishma. Do not fail. Without your protection, all of Hastinapura is at risk." The tired Bhishma merely nodded and fainted in tiredness. During his sleep, his brothers, the Vasus, appeared in a dream. "Launch the Parashurama, dear brother. It will throw the axe-wielding warrior into a swoon and will send him into a permanent sleep. This is the only way you will win. Let us teach you this weapon," said the Vasus in his dream. And when he woke, the spell of the Parashurama was still reeling in his head. The following day, Bhishma and Bhargava Rama met on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. both determined to send the other to the abode of Yama. The battle started as violently as it always did, and this time Bhishma seemed to have had the upper hand. He drenched the son of Jamadagni in blood by spraying the air with arrows, but this only enraged the former even more greatly. Finally, having exhausted all celestial weapons, Bhargavarama began to spray the chariot with more and more arrows. Unfortunately, this caused Bhishma's charioteer to fall. Bhishma was unable to protect his charioteer. Bhishma thought the only way to stop him was with the Parashurama, and he launched it. As soon as he did, the sage Narada appeared in the middle of the sky. "Stop, Kauravya, son of Kuru. Do not launch this missile. It will bring shame to the lineage of the Bharatas, the lineage that you are born into. This is a missile not known by any warrior and is taught to you through unfair means. Not only this, Bhargavarama is your preceptor and an ascetic. Take it back," commanded Narada, and Bhishma did not need telling twice. As soon as he was told, he called back the missile, and that is when Bhargavarama did the unthinkable. He took out the most deadly weapon in his arsenal, the deadliest weapon known to man, the legendary Brahmastra. This weapon can only be launched once in a lifetime and will completely annihilate the enemy. It never misses and never fails to kill. There was no counter for this weapon but itself. It's a weapon forged by Brahma himself, the god of all creation. Bhishma, having no choice, also invoked the Brahmastra, and a tremendous heat filled the air. Animals fled. Small lakes and ponds evaporated on the mere invocation. A light began to be emitted when Parashurama suddenly exclaimed, "I am vanquished." It seemed that Bhargavarama did not expect Bhishma to be versed in the weapon of Brahma. The mains, the forefathers, and the father of Bhargavarama stood before the weapon of Brahma. Jamadagni said, "Son, you must take back the weapon of Brahma. It will annihilate both this world and the world of the mains, and the world of the celestials. Do this now." Both the warriors called back the weapon of Brahma. The sage Parashurama bowed before an exhausted Bhishma. "You are my equal, and there is no reason for us to continue this fight. I accept my defeat. You may do as you wish with me," said the warrior sage, when Bhishma fell off his chariot with great effort and stood up. He closed his palms and bowed before his preceptor and said, "O dear teacher, I am eternally indebted to you. I thank you for leaving this battle. Please go where you are most comfortable." The two warriors bowed to each other and turned their backs. Bhishma went east and Bhargavarama went west. I hope you liked today's episode of The House of Kuru. If you have not already, please subscribe to this channel and like this video so that you will be notified every time a new video is uploaded. Thank you.